Me Nancy Kohli are top stories with countries under lockdown due to the COVID-19 outbreak. One of the positive things that has come out of this crisis-like situation is that our environment has become better. Today is the World Environment Day. The day is celebrated on the 5th of June every year. The Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change has organized several events. This year's theme is biodiversity. In view of the prevalent situation due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the ministry will be holding virtual celebrations with the focus on urban forests. Union Minister for Environment, Forests and Climate Change, Prakash Javadekar, will grace the occasion as the chief guest. India, though having less land mass and more human and cattle population, has nearly 8% of biodiversity. The country is endowed with rich biodiversity, having several species of animals and plants, and hosts 4 of the 35 global biodiversity hotspots containing several endemic species. The biodiversity conservation has traditionally been considered confined to remote forest areas, but with increasing urbanization, a need has arisen to safeguard and save biodiversity in urban areas as well. The Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change relaunched a scheme for creating urban forests in 200 corporations and cities because all these cities have gardens and not forests. The urban forest will help in creating and enhancing the lung capacities of these cities. On the World Environment Day today, the Union Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar has put up a series of tweets on his Twitter handle. He said, I quote, "On the World Environment Day, do something environment friendly. Plant a tree and show its growth wherever possible. This will create oxygen bank for life. This is how we can grow our tree cover and create additional carbon sink. We need to save water, recycle water and harvest water so that we'll never have no dearth of water resources anytime in future. We must save electricity and generate electricity through solar or wind so that we will save carbon emission. We need to use efficient electrical lights, the LED lights for saving electricity, and switch off the plugs whenever we go out." Unquote. And as the world celebrates the World Environment Day today, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has extended his greetings. In a series of tweets, he said, I quote, "Let there be a new beginning on this World Environment Day. Together we can secure the well-being of the people and the planet." Unquote. The Vice President also focused on collective efforts at restoring fragmented ecosystems. He said, "Keeping in view the ecological crisis that our planet faces today, we must enhance our efforts towards preserving biodiversity and restoring fragmented ecosystems to not only fight climate crisis but also to ensure food security, water supply and the safety of our people." And emphasizing on the fact that people need to focus on protecting nature and finding sustainable solutions in every sphere of life, he said, "On the World Environment Day, I call upon the people, the governments and all other stakeholders to intensify their efforts for protecting nature and finding sustainable solutions in every sphere of life." Unquote. And let's now go across to our correspondent Tapash Bhattacharya, who is joining us with more updates on the World Environment Day today. Tapash, important day, the World Environment Day, the theme of course biodiversity, and the day is observed to promote environment protection and of course spreading awareness about this objective. But this year's World Environment Day is very different from the previous years. Just take us through what's really planned up for the day up ahead.
Bang on there, Nancy, that this time this is going to be a very different World Environment Day because everyone's right now is trying to maintain social distancing because of the COVID-19 pandemic crisis. And this year's obviously the theme is celebrating biodiversity, and biodiversity is very important, particularly as of now when we talk about in this lockdown, where when we saw that because of the lockdown, the nature has tried to reboot itself. We've seen the Dholadhar range being being seen from Chandigarh and places. We have seen the river, Yamuna River, which is a very polluted one, getting rebooted and trying to once again clean itself on its own during this lockdown. The clear skies are clear. Different species of birds are migrating to different places. So in that sense, this year during the lockdown we saw that there is a difference in approach, and the environment has tried to reboot itself, and that, it's quite apt that biodiversity is the theme of this year, because remember, this is the time to concentrate on environment in such a manner that we live, because remember, this is the only habitable planet that is there, and one planet, and that is something what we need to be careful about. We don't want to destroy it with the pollution, and not just air pollution, but all kind of pollution for that matter. And that's one of the reason why this year urban is what the mayor emphasis on. The whole idea is that we plant more trees in the urban areas. So in that sense, Nagar Van, the concept of Nagar Van, that urban forest, has been spoken about here, and that's something that in India will be talking about. This year the whole thing was hosted by Colombia along with Germany. So in that sense, it's an initiative we are seeing, and out of the 35 hotspots, biodiversity hotspots that are found in all over the world, 4 are currently in India, and it is imperative that we maintain these hotspots, because these are the places where we find these flora and fauna.
Okay. All right, Tapash, thanks very much for joining us for the moment and sharing all those inputs. Let's also now go across to our correspondent Ajay Joy, who is joining us from Kerala. Ajay, on this occasion of the World Environment Day today, like the Environment Minister has also urged to plant trees and ensure its growth wherever possible. What are you seeing there in the state of Kerala as far as its promotion, the environment protection and its awareness is concerned?
Yes, Kerala is also on a massive campaign for planting saplings across the state, and it's on an ambitious target this year as well. 1.9 lakh saplings of fruit-bearing trees and other varieties, including medicinal plants. It will be planted across Kerala as part of the drive, which starts from today. Today, around 81 lakh saplings will be planted across Kerala. And Doordarshan has also a happy note to say, because it will be in the premises of Doordarshan Kendra that inauguration of this particular campaign by the Forest Department will happen. And hundreds of fruit-bearing trees will be planted here. So personally also, I'm also happy to be part of this drive. And across Kerala, the focus will be more on having indigenous varieties of trees, and especially focusing on the biodiversity aspect. So as you're aware, earlier, decades back, we used to have a system called, we have a afforestation drive, and then we will plant some exotic species and alien species in a massive manner, and that had absolutely disrupted the ecosystem here. So everywhere it goes, calids, acacia and all. But now, as you are aware, as a nation also, we have shifted to having the concept of biodiversity, protecting the indigenous species of plants, etc., trees, etc. So this year the focus is more on that. And then sustainability of what will happen after planting, right? It should be the sustainable, it should grow up and give us the right layer. So focus is more on that lane. It should not be like we plant it and then forget, and then regroup next year.
Yeah, okay. All right, Ajay Joy, thanks very much for joining us for the moment and sharing all those inputs. Thanks very much. Moving on now, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has issued guidelines for opening of religious places, hotels,